Okay, so we were talking about using Handbrake and Miro, two free applications that'll allow you to encode content and put it up on the web. Now, they're both very different. Miro's really easy to use, but you don't have a lot of control over settings. Handbrake's got a lot of control over settings and a lot of cool stuff that you can do with it. And we're using it to really just encode content that we're planning on uploading to YouTube for publication eventually. And that's great. One of the things I wanted to show you, though, was how I could automate the process of doing my encode and uploading directly to YouTube automatically, make it all part of one step. And that's something that the new version of Episode allows us to do. Now, I happen to be using Episode Pro, but Episode, the regular version, also has this same new notion. That notion is something called workflows that we haven't had before. Workflows is really taking and tying a couple of different pieces together. That is the sources, the places that you're getting the content, the encode settings that we're used to having access and control to, and then the deployments. And the deployments are all about where it's going and what we're doing with it after the fact. And one of the first places that they have deployments ready for, obviously, is for YouTube. And that's what we're looking at here. So we're looking at a workflow designed to create a clip that I'm going to put on YouTube in HD. So if I wanted to actually do this, all I need to do is I come over to my media browser, I pick a clip that I want to add to the timeline, add to my workflow, and I can see that that clip's there now. And it's already, this workflow is already using the H.264 720 16:9 encoder setting. Now, if for any reason that wasn't the right setting, I could swap it out. So let's say, for example, that I'm really using your contents, not 16:9, but in fact, maybe it's 4:3 or even SD. So for example, I could just come over here and grab either of those, and I could drag that in and swap it out. So it's that easy to swap out. Now, I obviously am doing 720, so I'm just going to swap that right back in. And then I'm going to come over to my YouTube setting, and in the inspector over here, I just want to go ahead and put in my username and my password. Give it a little title. And you could give it a description if you want. So real quick, we'll just put in a little description. And then you get to pick a category and some keywords that can be plugged in as well. And I'll mark this one as private since I'm just doing it as a test for this. Now, real quick, before we actually go submit this to the queue, let's just remember what it is that our encoder settings are that were set up for this. Now, we're obviously doing a 720p video. My video is 16:9, so that's all correct. We're using H.264 content, and we're doing a VBR that's approximately about 5 megabits per second. It can peak up as high as about 5.8 megabits per second, but we're trying to keep the data rate around 4,800 kilobits. And then once you add in the audio, it's about 5 megabits per second. We're doing a keyframe every 100 frames. And we're doing audio bit rate around 128 kilobits per second. Some of the other areas, if we just quickly scroll down, the frame rate hasn't had to change any. We're just passing directly through our 2997, which is what my video content was. My content was interlaced, so we are actually doing a de-interlace here as part of that process. And my content was actually 1080i, which means that it was 1920 by 1080 interlaced. So as part of the process of, as we de-interlace it, we're also scaling it down to the 1280 by 720 that it'll need to be in order to publish correctly for YouTube. Now let's go back and look at Handbrake for a moment, and we'll look at similar settings that I would use within it to create a similar video that I would upload to YouTube.